The next train on platform 1 goes to...
Hi everyone listening. I'm just going to do a quick verbal introduction to this one to congratulate this week's guest, Jeremy Neale, on winning the Grant McLennan Fellowship. He very much deserves it. An incredible songwriter and also an incredibly nice and kind person. Just a quick note for anyone who hasn't heard this podcast before, it's basically just conversations segmented with bizarre audio just kind of intertwined in between a sort of weird phonic nightmare. Anyway, full credit to my band Wow 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 for most of the weird music in between little bits. I was supposed to promote Jeremy Neale's new dates, but it seems they have not been announced yet. But I'm sure they will be announced at some point in the future.
As we approach the 21st century, a new means of communication is emerging. This technology uses computer networks to link people on every continent. If we are destined to live in a global village, one day we will all be connected to the internet.
The internet also represents a new type of communication. It's an electronic landscape where people can interact, conduct business, and do whatever they normally do elsewhere.
A whole world of exciting new possibilities.
And once access to it becomes widespread, the internet will likely turn what we call the global village into the global street corner.
So, what's everyone up to today?
And the next thing you know, we'll be surfing the net.
And the availability will only grow.
I like to jolt myself back to reality with a caffeine-laden soft drink. Email.
And I haven't been able to get the kids off it ever since.
Finally, there's a better way.
Virtual pets sought electric sustenance.
Now that I've gotten on the internet, I'd rather be on my computer than doing just about anything.
And he's got the appetite.
So let's get underway.
Cyberspace.
Allows you to maintain your dignity.
Not just for boys either.
Hey, good looking. We'll be back to pick you up later.
It's really cool. It looks just like it does in our history books, only it seems more real, like we're there.
You can do a lot of different things on the internet. Here, for example,
People tend to go overboard in expressing their outrage.
you may face trolls.
Never can be too careful.
Can we do something fun?
And the kids are improving in their grades.
Which makes me happy, as I would sure like them to go to college someday.
It is sending email.
Dear Mr. President.
There's no restroom out here.
I'm just finishing up here with my new kayaking friends.
Drank a lot of water. I really have to go.
Surrounded by a field that is known as Antarctica.
You don't have to worry so much about being killed all the time.
They got more stuff than you can imagine.
This fantasy world is in your own head.
Nowhere to run, nowhere to ride.
In reality, you're only typing words on a computer screen. Just keep telling yourself that, no matter what.
End bracket.
So, Jeremy Neale, how is the new release going of getting the team back together?
I think it's good. I think we've gotten the team back together. I think, it's hard to tell. We're currently receiving good critical acclaim, though.
Yes.
So that's something,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I tell you what, you're the master of the earworm because I've been listening to it, obviously, a lot since it came out, and every single song has just gotten lodged completely in my ear.
I'm simultaneously grateful and sorry.
Well, funny thing is, for years, Swing Left has always just popped into my head at random moments.
Oh, damn.
A full circle of degrees, right, left, and my eyes are just to see right, left, that the world,
And the only other song to ever do that is I Don't Like It by Pauline Pants Down.
Oh, I'm keeping good company. That's awesome. Yeah, hell yeah.
You have this huge pop edge, and they're all earworms, particularly the latest stuff on the new album. The video always got stuck in my head.
Oh, mad.
And Light My Way gets stuck in my head. And there was the one after video, Loose Cannon.
Loose Cannon, hey. Yeah.
It's all week.
Hey, that's the key to it, though. It's a 5-minute song, That's what I mean. It's subtle, but you hear it so much in a 5-minute run. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
With my band, I'm trying to think of what our criteria is for a good song, or what... I guess one of them is it has to make me feel uncomfortable. you are in a completely different genre. You're in that pop sphere. Do you have like a litmus test? I don't even know what a litmus test is.
Nobody does. You can't even Google it anymore. All the results are gone.
Would you be able to describe when you're writing a song? Would you be able to describe what those kind of criteria are? I mean,
it's tough. I mean, I think that it's got to be a little bit exciting. I think that's usually what it is.
Absolutely
exciting, and the hook is pretty important to me.
Well, clearly.
Yeah, I think, but I don't know. It's very organic, and I also can't tell what my criteria is, but I know if there's a hard pass or a hard foul. It's just like,
yes,
like you're out of here, and you get to stay. But I can't tell you what that is.
Okay, well, how many, you got, 11 tracks on the album?
Yeah, 11 tracks.
So how many do you think were sort of written for it, though? How many of those would have made the cut?
The cuts happen in different phases. It's like, you remember the TV show Gladiators?
Yes, I'm very familiar.
You'd run the gauntlet, you know what I mean?
I've got Vulcan's daughter as one of the guests on the podcast.
Way. That is incredible.
Yeah. He runs a gym. His name is John.
Whoa. I have nothing to offer now. I got to go home.
Right?
I veto a lot in just the writing phase.
Before you even bring it out to the full band?
Yeah, before I even like I'll jot it down in my iPhone memos,
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll write like, that's pretty good, or ideas for this, or like whatever my reference point was for it as a note. But I'll know that it's not worth revisiting if it doesn't get a title. Like if it just is like iPhone memo 4,522.
Right.
It's like, well, let's not go back there. Unless you're on a long haul flight, then you can just listen to them all back to back.
Yep.
And see if there's hidden gold you didn't notice at the time.
The voice memos, is that what they usually are?
Yeah, the voice memos.
Really?
Yeah. Note to self. Sing hook. And then, from there, I guess it's like this record. We did pre-production for 14 songs, maybe.
Right, okay.
And then we started recording 13, and then we only followed through to finish the final 11.
I suppose those other 3, they would have kind of been on that knife edge where you just like,
totally.
not sure. Yeah.
They either like didn't have like lyrical substance, or it wasn't tied enough to the theme of the record.
Right.
Or sonically, there was like a track I'd been carrying over from like 3 years ago that I was like, this is a great song independently.
Yeah.
And I'd like tried to put it on multiple releases, I guess, in a way, but it just doesn't quite work.
It can be such a shame as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like
I really like the song.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to do with it.
It's a good song and I have no place for it.
Yeah.
And you have to, and you know, that I guess that restricts what you obviously can't really play it live, or you probably won't, or avoid it.
I mean, I was playing it live. That's the thing. I was playing it live for like maybe 3 years, like hoping that it would carry over eventually. Before I'd play, be like, hey, here's a new one. It's probably coming out on the next record.
Yeah.
Never did. Never will.
Hey, who's the drummer on the new album? Is it you?
I do drum, but I have not. You shouldn't let me near a kit for like for a real.
Yeah. Well,
release,
I deliberately left my drum kit behind me, dismantled.
Yeah,
because I
very
heard
kind
you
of
were
you.
coming. Yeah.
Because I did want to drum through. Very what's the movie? The Bird one.
The Birdman.
Birdman
With Keaton.
Yeah, and the drum soundtrack.
I haven't seen it.
Anyway, nobody has. Well, I've seen it, but
it's one of those movies that I'm just like, that came out, right?
Yeah, and it was like a big deal for reasons I can't explain. I still liked it anyway.
Right.
I wouldn't watch it again, but I don't watch anything again. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not a rewatcher.
I'm a huge rewatcher.
See, this is a big difference.
But I'm also particularly bad with consuming new movies and TV.
Yeah. You've got your like safe space, like
I've got my
nostalgic
comfort food. Yeah, I've got the comfort
feel.
food, and it's because when you're working on stuff, I mean, I view that stuff as a break.
Yes,
and
good point. Yeah.
You said just before we started that you've basically not been consuming anything for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no time. Every time you'd be.
It was either at work or doing emails or like running my socials or like rehearsing or it's been a pretty wild couple of weeks.
How are the rehearsals going? It's all sort of coming together nicely?
We just had to get it together to play one show in Brisbane. We played End of the Line Festival.
Right.
So that was fortunately because the record had just come out the day before. We only had to play, maybe 3 songs from the new record. When I take it on the road in March, then, that's when, if you're doing an album tour, you got to play at least half the album.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly 6 or 7 songs. So we'll get it together then.
I do have to ask, just because I really, really like the drums on the new album.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. Let's backtrack to the drums.
Yeah. Because I was listening to it, I'm just going, oh, that is great. The little percussive things, and I wouldn't have been able to think of something really smooth like that.
But there's some crazy drum work. So the record is a 50-50 split between James Wright and George Browning, and they're both weapons of their own domain.
Yeah.
And they both brought different aspects to it, but they've just smashed it.
Who's doing the live tour?
George Browning.
Okay.
Yeah, so George plays also in Baba Ganoush.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He
okay.
also drums in Velociraptor, drums in a bunch of other bands around Brisbane. He's just a genius. I mean, his favourite band's Devo. I think that says it all.
I love
Devo.
Yeah. I love Devo. Yeah. If you go up through the house, there's Devo records on
Devo Shrine.
The wall. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, I think Devo have that semi-comical, but not actually. No, Devo are a lot more comical than you, because Devo, their humor goes into the music.
Yeah.
When I listen to your music, I'm also viewing it through that sort of prism of your social media, which is fucking hilarious, by the way.
Thank you.
Even though the songs aren't funny, but I just kind of, because I've sort of created this concept of you in my head with like T-Rex and the whole, I mean, even the new album cover is just ridiculous. Who are those people?
They're the team. We're getting them back together, possibly for the first time ever.
For people who aren't familiar, can you please explain?
No, I don't like a puppet.
On Jeremy Neale's new album, Getting the Team Back Together, on the cover is a superhero team. There's a couple of little puppets.
There's a Muppet.
There's Muppy the Muppet. There's the There's the Battlebirds. There's T-Rex, the billionaire dinosaur DJ himself.
Yeah.
A bunch of all-star cast. Got an alien in there. We've got my good friend Phibbs. James.
There's like an X-Men character, looks like one of them.
Yeah, I was trying for a real Star Trek kind of thing.
Well, you nailed it. You must have been just like, well, I'm going to make an album, but I want it to be themed like a bad 90s movie.
Yeah. Well, I like, look, being like a human being, there's lots of levels to us, right? Like, I feel like the sincerity and the real deal stuff that you have to go through and whatever your headspace is like, I like to reflect that in the music itself. Then the artwork is kind of like my chance to enjoy the pop cultural aspects that I love. And also, like, it's light and fun, and it's my favorite TV trope, movie trope of getting the team back together.
Yeah.
We gotta get the guys back together. Yeah, we do.
Haven't you heard?
You wanna play some hockey?
We're putting the band back together.
Forget it. No way.
We're on a mission from God.
We can get the band back together.
Get the band back together? Get the... Oh, that's the stupidest thing. Never in a million years. Stop it.
But wait, you're not...
I said stop.
But it's also deeply symbolic of like getting your life in order as well. You know what I mean? It's getting yourself back together. At the end of the day, you are the team, right? There's you and your best bud, which is yourself. You hang out with all the time, and you guys got to work together to get it right. Yeah, inseparable. That's the thing. They'll be right there with you until the day you die, and so you gotta work together to make it the best life possible.
Look, I'm not really on board with the current trends. And I don't mean on board as in I don't approve. I mean, I just don't know what they are.
Yeah.
But it's not exactly correlating to what you do. You're not doing it on some sort of, these new bands are influencing you. It is very popish with an indie sort of
tinge.
Tinge is a good word.
Tinge.
If that was there from the start, who kind of, this is a long way of me saying who influenced you.
Yes.
Well, who are your influences?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There are those things that are at the very core, I'm super obsessed with the general, like in the foundations of my music, I'm super obsessed with the general sound of the 60s and the general sound of the 80s. I love them for all their good and all their bad.
Aesthetically as well, I think.
Yeah, big fan of the aesthetics behind it too.
Yeah.
And then I add things to that over time. I'm not one that consumes a lot of music though. I just find like a song I really like. Yeah.
I'm a shocker.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, but sometimes it's... But you must know tons of people that just swallow everything whole.
Yeah, which is amazing. And I think that'd be so exciting and vibrant. And I wish that I did consume more music. But I find I just like find one song I really like and I just hammer it for ages. And then I'm just like, I'd like to write my own version of that perhaps. Or it just gets thrown into the pot and then it comes out in another way. And then it kind of puts me on a trajectory toward what I'm going to do next.
Yeah.
But the thing is, as time goes on, I kind of just get better at being myself.
Yeah.
Which then is quite an insular process and probably takes me further and further away from what's actually happening in music because I don't have that in, my blinkers are on and I'm not seeing what I should be seeing and consuming.
Exactly.
But it's interesting.
But people, I think people could see that and people appreciate that.
Yeah. It's good to be honest. Like it's good to be honest in what you create and not intellectualize what you're inclined to do.
Yeah, Like, I mean, you didn't make the new album for a Triple J airplay.
Triple J. Welcome to Hackle.
Triple J.
We love you. Music. Triple J.
I mean, it'll get it, but I mean, it's not like the sound was informed by.
Well, I don't even know if I don't think it'll get it either, but it's okay. Like, it's because,
Really?
Well, because it's just, I made something for me and people like me, I guess. That's the thing. And if I don't do that, who's going to do that?
Yeah.
So, like, you've got to, I guess it was like, we're on a podcast right now, but I like listened to a podcast with Jerry Seinfeld. It was the Alec Baldwin one for him from his podcast. Here's the Thing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh my God, his voice.
Oh, it's beautiful, right?
I would love to
sleep on a bed of it.
Oh my God. And he's such a pro with the ads.
Oh, yeah. And he's smooth.
What's in your wallet? That sounded more like Job.
Popcorn shrimp with club sauce.
It's like Jerry's at this point in his career, and he's just finished Seinfeld, and it's like, Jerry, you can do whatever you want. Why don't you just go make more shows and be an actor or whatever? And he's like, well, not a very good actor.
Yeah.
But I'm good at being Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all you can really do. And that's what I'm trying to do, be really good at being Jeremy Neale. So,
were you ever into like Belle and Sebastian or anything? Did that ever?
I thought that they were interesting, but I never really listened to them.
That's right, same for me.
Yeah, sweet. I mean, I like the general concept.
One song.
Yeah, and that's a great song. That song,
the Offers.
Yes, yeah, that one.
Oh my God,
great song.
I still chuck it on. I have like a playlist of sort of behind the sofa songs that we haven't brought out in a while.
Yes, it's an all-time song. It's an all-time song. That era of music as well, maybe like Jens Lekman, kind of vibe. I'm very impressed with production-wise.
Impressed with it, but not so much influenced by it. Or at least...
Yeah, I guess that's the thing, impressed, because like I actively listen to Jens Lekman, but because I think he's a songwriter.
Know who that is.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think what his big song was here. I don't know. He had that like avocado song.
Avocado, mail provider, Colorado.
Yeah, this isn't selling it. Anyway,
okay.
he's like a songwriter though, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
So it's like, and not in a pretentious way, just he's a very good storyteller.
Right.
And he's a very good melody man. And he's a very good at instrumentation and very interesting musical ideas. So that kind of stuff.
All this tragedy from coast to coast. Said I was the one that you needed the most, and that you'd run to me. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So I have been to 2 of your gigs, but I've only seen you live once. So I do apologise for that.
Explain the situation.
Well, the situation was, I mean, it's actually not very funny or interesting, but the first time was at Good God, or whatever that's called now, but Plan B Small Club.
Oh, yeah.
When you were down with John Steel Singers for the In Stranger Times tour.
Yeah.
And that was awesome, except there was this really tall guy in front of me that was like, he had this one sort of move where he didn't so much dance as just bobbed his head to the left like this, like the whole gig.
Straight in your vision.
Straight in my vision, and I just couldn't get past the head wobble. Like your face was sort of clouded by it, and it ruined the gig for me. It ruined it.
You know what? I didn't want to tell you this now, but I brought that guy in with me today, and I'm just going to sit him down, and you guys can air this out.
And the other time was you were playing Newtown Social Club, and I had dinner plans with my girlfriend, but I really needed to go see Yeeves, who were opening. Yeah. So we paid the tickets, and then we went and saw Yeeves, but then we had to meet another.
I thank you for your patronage.
No, well, I felt bad because I would have liked to have seen that gig, especially since Newtown Social Club isn't there anymore.
R.I.P. What a beautiful place. So hey.
Yeah. What I don't know. It's hard for me. I can't really talk to you about the problems in Sydney, but
I mean, I know about them.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I've heard the word.
But Brisbane has such a healthy scene.
We're very lucky.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm a huge John Steele Singers fan as well, and you've got even like Moses Gun Collective and the Belligerents and all those guys. Do you feel like that was always there? Because I guess I haven't really been paying attention, but I've sort of only noticed it in the last sort of 5 years or so.
Yeah, it's changed. I mean, I guess I started playing in bands in Brisbane in like 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an interesting time to come through. We still had venues, but it was a weird dynamic. We didn't have as many venues at all. And everyone would be kind of tripping over themselves to play a bar called Rick's. Rick's Bar. Yeah, so it's still a big sound venue, but it's not what it was, I guess. It used to be very like the coolest of the cool get there, and we'd like fight our way to get like, if once you got that Tuesday night slot, you were like, all right, this is it, I'm in. And then like you get a Thursday and you're like, okay, we have to play this show. This is make or break.
Yeah.
And then you get a Saturday night and it's just... It's crazy.
It's you're all set.
It. Yeah. The place is rammed. It's just like the place to be. And so it was kind of really, we just had like that and the Troubadour and maybe a couple other pop-up places. And then...
Was this with Velociraptor at the time?
Yeah, we started it 2008, which is crazy, as a 3-piece back then.
Yeah.
And it was a different scene too, because I feel like music was super pretentious in 2008. I don't know, like I feel like we were coming out of the end of that too cool indie kind of phase of music though, maybe. And
I feel like we're never going to come out of that fully.
True.
Like that's been there since the beginning, That's always, everything's always been a little bit too cool. But I mean, what if you go sort of forward to say maybe 2011?
Yeah.
And that's when everyone...
So then things start changing.
That's when everyone got a beard.
Yeah.
And everyone started being Angus and Julia Stone and Mumford and Sons.
The trends are so interesting.
Yeah, but I don't even know what the trends are right now.
No. Well, I feel like, I always think about this as like in the present, but like it seems to be the best time ever to be involved in music.
I think it's a lot more varied than it used to be.
Yes, and that's essential.
There's no cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Is that the right word?
I'm not sure.
I mean, obviously, there's no Nirvana. There's no band that everyone's got.
Yes, the freedom of the internet to...
Yeah.
We've had the internet for quite some time.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
But the freedom to get your music out there and heard, it's good. It's good for diversity.
It's great for diversity. Can be difficult for money.
Yeah, it is horrible for money.
It's horrible.
It's horrible for money.
I mean, I would consider you a pretty goddamn successful artist, yet you still obviously have to have a day job. I'm pretty sure Tim Rogers from UMI still does gardening.
Yeah, you got to do it. It's crazy. You got to get by. You do it for love.
Well, I think that's also a nice filter as well, because the fact that there is no money to be made in it, no one is getting into it for any financial means.
Yeah.
So that means you filter out anyone who doesn't absolutely love it and would give up a wage to do it.
Totally.
Which I guess is a nice little, removes the people that don't give a shit.
Yeah, and then you get a really nice community because of it.
Totally.
And I'm always talking about community, but it's actually like the number one real thing that music does, because you meet like-minded people, you support each other, you help each other create art as well, which is really beautiful.
You're a big collaboration guy.
Huge, because I'm not very good at a lot of instruments,
Yeah, no, I get that.
But also, like, if I just made an insular record, it's insular because I'm captaining the ship, but if I made it with just me, it would not be half as exciting as it is with other people and their ideas and letting them do their very particular skill set of a thing,
It must be nice to be captain the ship with people coming in with these awesome ideas and you can just be just like, yes, no, or give me a couple of days, yes. Yeah.
Usually it's just like, yes, because they're just so... the people we had in the studio was so much fun. Like we had, as you said before, John Steele Singers. We had Scott and Luke from John Steele Singers in the studio doing all like the gang vocals and stacked harmonies.
Yeah. That's their strength.
Oh, they're so good.
So good with the harmonies.
It's so exciting. Like I was just I was smiles the whole time. Hey, so there was just so much yes.
Yeah.
For me.
Lots of
just
yes.
do your thing, guys. Just have a great time, and they love it. They love just like dropping those harmonies.
Did you do it at the Plutonium? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Their studio.
You did record it there?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So
is that a nice place? I always thought that was a cool I mean, I mainly knew it because of that album, that Midnight at the Plutonium.
Yeah, well,
John Steele Singer's album.
I mean, if you want to see the inside of the studio, the first single I put out from this record, Dancin' and Romancin', the film clip for that is the inside of the Plutonium.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have seen it then.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful space. Outside, there's a basketball hoop.
Right.
No, it's next to an Aldi.
Hey you, do you like Aldi?
Of course you do.
It's next to an Aldi?
Yeah.
Your favourite distributor of canoes and snow gear.
Aldi, 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 Aldi.
Going back to sort of 2008, I wanted to go back to that time. I'm assuming I think we're roughly the same age. I'm 28.
31, yep.
31?
Yep.
Okay, so that means, what was that? 2008, 22 trying to do that. So
yeah,
I'm kind of interested in those 18 to 22 years.
Yeah.
Because those are formative years. And you were at uni at that time, right?
Well, I was a dropout, I did uni for 2 years. First 2 years out, I started doing education. After I did student teaching, I dropped out and went to business. Didn't like that either. Then I dropped out.
You didn't like student teaching and you went to study business.
Yeah, look, it was a confusing time. I just knew I had to get a job,
Hey, I have a degree. I have a business degree.
Yes, see?
And I used to work crazy, crazy hours and then I just basically...
Backed out.
I think I sort of left that just when I was 24 and I was just like, there has to be something else other than this shit.
And 24 is the clincher, I feel, because that was when I was like, you know what, maybe and this takes a long time in the scheme of it. Like, I wish I'd made the conclusion way earlier.
Of course.
But I didn't have the confidence in myself and my ability then. I enjoyed music greatly, but I got to about 24 and I was like, oh, wait a second, existential crisis. You only get one shot to be you. You got to find your logical conclusion. And I was like, okay, let's apply myself a bit more to music.
Take chances on a life others may define as something of a joke. Still you laugh along, but oh darling, it's so good to know that you're here.
Full-time work is really tough. It's grinding and it's and there's not much time left for you.
No. I mean, there's this. I feel so bad for the whole Western world.
Yeah.
We were supposed to have 3 days a week. That's what they were saying in the 50s.
Well, that's what I do now. I work 3 days a week, and that's my perfect balance.
Perfect.
That's where it's at. So
yeah. I'm on 4, which is
that's Sydney rates though. You've got to work 4 days in Sydney. You can work 3 days in Brisbane, but
yeah, exactly. But do you find with work it can sometimes almost recharge you? I feel like I'm my most creative after work as opposed to a whole day that I have off.
I agree. It's essential and it's automatically productive use of your time. So it's not like self-directed use of your time where you've got a to-do list.
Yeah, okay, come on, sit down, let's do it. Yeah.
And then if you don't do that to-do list, then you shame spiral. But you go to work, you do a good job because you know what the parameters are and you're there to do a good job. And then you feel great about yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Or you feel shit, channel that into something,
totally.
Productive use of your time.
And you've been an effective member of the community though. That's what you do, not in a capitalist, everybody fills their role in the system, but it's important to do something that is part of the world,
I completely agree. I used to have a neighbor that was a communist, which is totally fine. I'm a lefty. I totally get that. But he was like, oh no, I refuse to work. And I was like, well, you don't have to work for a bank, you can. There are good things you can do that are not necessarily part of that system.
You could help people.
Exactly. And that's what you do at your work because you work for the Starlight Foundation?
Yeah, I work for Starlight Children's Foundation. Yeah.
And the program's called Livewire, is that right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, so you're doing that 3 days a week. What do you do on those days?
Well, I guess we're in a hospital-based program and we hang out specifically with teenagers in hospital. So the idea of the program is either to give them creatively fulfilling like activities they can do. So if they want to learn guitar, I'll teach them guitar. If they want to do some songwriting, we'll do that. If they want to paint, we'll paint. If they want to do arts and crafts, we'll do arts and crafts. I've become an arts and crafts master
I bet you have.
which is awesome. If they just want to chat,
which arts do you feel that you're excelling at?
I mean, pretty good with clay modeling now. And have you used that polymer clay, that Fimo modeling stuff? You can kind of make things and then you bake them, so you can make like jewelry and badges and earrings.
I haven't done that since high school, but
anyway, it's a great time.
Well, the people, I think that's actually coming back as some sort of a trend or something.
Yeah,
now.
I feel so. I mean, we get a lot of
So you're not in the trend
Pinterest.
with music, but you're all over the clay.
Arts and crafts, definitely, very 2017.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that. And it's also like, I guess, like just trying to connect them with other teenagers in hospital who are the only other people who are going to truly understand what they're going through. Because being a teenager is a tough time. If, I remember back to being a teenager. Yeah. And then add being in hospital on top of that. It's just...
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the project. The project aims to give them fulfilling things to do while they're in there. Hopefully if they're in for a long time, then they'll leave with a new skill. And skills, as you know, very valuable in life. Like, if things, it's part of that whole kind of like...
Skills, as you know, very valuable in life.
Yeah, sorry.
As well as substantiation The most important tool you have on a resume is language.
Strong database skills.
Right, like you strike the rhythm of human speech.
I'm so good with that. So good with that.
Gotta be a star! Hello! He's got a firm handshake, this man. I like him. Loves a coffee.
Swims, but not in water.
Fantastic text.
I can use my shoes without looking.
There's something interesting about people in the sort of creative areas often do have these jobs.
Yeah.
These jobs that require fulfillment. I mean, I know a comedian and he refuses to let anyone know it on stage because he's filthy, but he's, works in childcare.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Bradley from Yeeves, I believe, is in aged care.
Yeah.
I think, I wonder what that correlation is. I guess it's kind of what we're talking about before about how the money isn't so important, I guess.
That's the thing. Otherwise you have, I feel like, because I don't even think about money, but I think about time. I think about how I use my time.
Yeah.
And I will have a crazy existential crisis if I feel like I'm wasting my time. I used to work a retail job and retail can be great.
Can be.
It just depends who you're working for. But anytime I would make, say I would get in bad debt from a tour, and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go back into this job now and work it off at minimum wage, $17 an hour. It's a lot of hours in a $3,000 debt from a bad tour, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so that is when you're like, well, I don't enjoy this job and I'm only working it to pay off something I did.
Yeah.
A mistake essentially.
Yeah.
So that's really crushing. Whereas if you're enjoying how you spend your time at work, you don't think about the money. And if you did make a bad mistake on a tour, it's like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. Completely. Yeah. It'll all come out in the wash.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
Fine. I think that's, as I said before, I feel so sorry for everyone. It's just like everyone, even my roommates, all my friends, everyone's come home from work. It's like, how you doing? Everyone's just like, oh God, I just can't.
Yeah.
Work is just, and I don't know. I don't feel like as a society we're moving into a better place. I feel like we're moving, people are working longer hours. That's, generally agreed upon.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we have all this shit we don't need. The amount of time that I have to spend on the band's social media to try and do a good job with it.
Yeah, totally.
Is crazy.
It is crazy.
To the layman, that would seem as sort of a extra activity as opposed to the core, but
it's actually essential.
Essential in today's...
which is very strange.
Yeah.
We're in a strange time.
You're very good at it. I like your Twitter cover photo, which features Betty White,
Jackie Chan, Sandy Cohen, aka Peter Gallagher, and
you, and this other guy. And I didn't.
Oh, it was Dean Strang, lawyer from was that Netflix true crime show with Stephen Avery?
It's all right. I'll put a computer.
Making
voice.
a Murderer.
Oh, I was about to say that, but I was like, it couldn't be.
Oh yeah, Dean Strang, but he was like the heart of gold lawyer that everybody fell in love with. So that was a team you can trust.
Yeah,
we're all about integrity.
Did you grow up in Brisbane?
I did, yeah. I grew up in the outer burbs. So
Outer
technically
burbs.
out of the proximity of Brisbane's CBD. It's Brisbane's like coverage, but, close by. To
Close
Brisbane
enough.
City.
You're close
Yeah.
enough that you can say Brisbane.
I can say Brisbane, yeah.
What was it, like Logan or something?
It was Mango Hill.
Welcome to Mango Hill, your new home in the afterlife. Summertime Samba.
That's my favourite name for a suburb ever.
It's very pleasant. There was a lot of mango trees.
Hill.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds bountiful.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
What do your folks do?
Well, when I was growing up, I never had to intro this. There's no, like my dad passed away when I was like 10. So
okay.
I'm never really smooth at
Yeah, we didn't know there's no easy way to drop that fact. It's like saying it's your birthday.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
It's not the right comparison.
Well, hopefully Facebook does it for you.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, you have
That's
that
the
now.
thing. Before he passed away, he was sort of public servant job.
Okay.
And then mum was a trained hairdresser. So it was a good combo.
Yeah.
But
did they have any sort of creative bent? Was there any sort of that rubbed off on you?
I mean, they liked music. They
Yeah.
like music. My mum's a huge fan of music. And the first piece of music I was ever given was by my dad, and it was like a double cassette tape of the Beach Boys. So I went incredibly deep on the Beach Boys, but I would only listen to like the first 3 tracks where I'd get up to the end of I Get Around, and then I'd rewind it back.
It's such a sweet sensation.
I did that with Genesis, which is not a cool band.
No, Genesis rule.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I Can't Dance. VHS, I remember that one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was your drummer's name? The live drummer?
George,
I'm sure he's taken a couple of lessons of the percussive bits of I Can't Dance.
Yeah, definitely.
So you made this change at sort of 24 to start looking into music, which I find really interesting because that's what I did as well, and I'm only interested in things that relate directly to myself.
So like this is pre me pursuing music like properly, but when I was started Velociraptor, I was like probably 21, 22.
Right.
And to get our first gig there, like you had to make a physical demo CD to hand in. So I like made one. I used to demo the songs. I'd play all the instruments at home and demo them out, and then I would put them on a blank CDR, and then I drew some artwork on it. It was very, very 2008.
Yeah. I think that for early bands, there's a lot of pushback.
It's hard to cut through. I don't know if it's harder then or harder now, but it's.
Or at least cut through the sort of noise, the sheer...
because there's so much going on.
Yeah, the sheer volume of things coming out.
Yeah, and attention spans, and like there's so many things for entertainment.
Yeah, everything is... You're competing with Netflix. You're competing with everything. And I don't know if it's just me getting older, but home is now more appealing to me than ever.
Yeah, it's got it all.
Yeah.
It's got all your favourite people.
Yeah, the whole team's there.
Yeah. So I feel like in music that... maybe especially in those early days, you're calling in a lot of favors,
Absolutely, yeah.
Like when I got that first Monday night or Tuesday night show at Rick's, I was like hand printed invitations to give to people, and I was just like,
really,
please come to my show.
Yeah,
to my coworkers, to my friends.
Yep,
and
got to get your coworkers in.
Yep,
and they're like, you do music?
Yeah, and
you can really play that guitar, Jeremy.
Yeah.
People might not understand just the sheer amount of time. I mean, 2008 was 9 years ago.
Yeah, that is nuts.
You've just come out with your first album.
Yeah.
This is a long fucking slog.
It's just so costly, I feel. Like it's such a costly process. If you...
Emotionally and...
Yeah, both. Yeah. It's a headspace filler, it is. And if you don't have like a major label support, then you can't afford the marketing, and the marketing is the most essential thing that happens now.
Completely, yeah.
So... yeah, it's a tough slog on the ground. But
and you must have been back in the day just doing all the PR emails, all the send outs, and that
I didn't understand how that worked either. That's the thing. It takes years to find out how that works.
No one tells you. There's no how-to guide.
No. Like we're lucky now for things like big sound conferences and like Face of Music in Melbourne and those kind of things that like, or our government-based music bodies that will give you workshops that'll help you figure out how the stuff works. But
what's the one? Is it Q Music or
Q Music? Yeah, is what we have back home. Yeah, and that's good because that's like, oh, that's how that works.
Yeah,
because music is such a strange.
It's so weird, and I imagine when you were around 24 and making this decision, you were probably not surrounded by musicians and the music scene, or I'm just wondering.
No, I didn't have like the. I didn't have
you didn't have the community
support
around
structure,
you.
No. So that's the thing as well, and that builds over time.
That's right, and I feel like that's actually one of the major things is people liking you.
Yeah, totally, and like you just getting chance to hang out with people as well, like,
completely,
which is just that just takes time because
relationships and friendships take time.
Yeah,
but I've been amazed, really in the last sort of year or so that I've been pushing this, the amount of kind, interesting people. When someone from a band that you likes your music genuinely,
yes,
and then it's like,
huge.
This is actually a thing.
Yeah, totally.
And that makes a big difference.
And that's why if you're thinking something kind, you should always share it,
Completely.
And like usually I forget to do that until I've had a couple of drinks.
Oh, yeah. And then you're like, I love you.
Yeah, essentially. It's just
I love you.
I gotta let you know what I've been thinking about your new record. It is great. Yeah. And that's the thing I wish that there was like a part of my day that was just like half an hour. And because you think about a lot of people in a day. And if you have kind thoughts, you're thinking very kind thoughts about all these people.
Yeah.
It would be wonderful to be able to let them all know that you've been thinking of them in a day.
Completely.
Yeah.
I think that's something important, and not even specific to music or art. It's
just life.
It is kind of important to tell people how much you appreciate them.
Totally.
Something that was kind of a little bit frowned upon from the man's point of view, I think, once upon a time.
That's why we're in such a beautiful time.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
It's so nice to be able to be honest with people and to be warm.
Welcoming. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and that's like all I want in the world, and I think that's all everybody else wants too.
Yeah.
They just want to feel comfortable in their surroundings.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and thank you actually so much for coming on, because
of course
you and I do not know each other at all.
We've
never met. We do now.
Yeah,
but we've never met.
No.
You took a chance to come down here, and that's the warmth that I think that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, you did not have to do this.
Yeah, you're just slowly creating the world you want to be a part of, which is just kindness, right?
Yeah. Everyone I know with your style of sense of humor seems to have some sort of anxiety, or at least have some sort of relationship with that area.
Yeah. Well, there's the ever-present existential crisis that I think is like the baseline restlessness, perhaps, the undercurrent that I think is there always. Well, not always. I mean,
no. There are moments where it goes away, and those are wonderful.
Yeah.
But like when you've been drinking.
Yeah, totally. And they come back twofold the next day.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, I mean, I am fortunate to. I actually do have a really positively geared headspace.
Yeah.
Like, I have a real everything's gonna be all right in the end.
Kind of
good mindset, and like a general great positivity, and I've got a really good structure of like being my own life coach going on underneath, which is super helpful. But I do have an overactive mind, and it's not in a I'm lucky because it's positively geared, but because I'm always thinking and daydreaming, and like I get really excited about ideas or just just daydreaming. I feel like that is my general undoing in any kind of sphere like that, because it makes me less feeling and more thinking.
Right. Okay. So it's do you mean there might be some sort of overanalysis, or I don't know if
I guess I just have I guess I have a brain that used to be anxious. I used to be very anxious when I was younger, and I think that speed of thought perhaps stuck around, but
the mindset.
Yeah, the mindset became a really positive one. So, yeah.
Well, I think that there can be a stressor or an anxiety that's sort of on a different level, but it's fueled rather by the excitement of the opportunities rather than the fear of the failure.
Yeah, totally. Because they say those two feelings are the same thing. What is it, like excitement and fear are the same thing, but it's how you perceive them?
Yeah,
or something?
yeah, completely.
Yeah. So I guess it is that. So yeah,
and because I think that regardless, music can be very stressful. I mean,
Yes.
you've got very little money security, and as you mentioned earlier, you said something that I thought was quite interesting about how you don't so much value money, but you value time.
Yes.
And what work can do is take away that time.
Yes.
And I don't think I correctly phrased this question. Next.
I've got a gift for you, actually.
You've got a gift?
Yeah.
Is it a dinosaur?
Yeah, it's the T-Rex comic book.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, because that's out now, right?
It's out now. Yeah. So drop your copy.
I mean, this idea is ridiculous. Dinosaur billionaire DJ, but I don't know if I'm spilling a secret.
Tell me more.
From you. Well, are you? I'm going to assume you are familiar with the 1995 failed Whoopi Goldberg film.
Very familiar. Too familiar.
Theodore Rex.
Yes. I don't think there's been a more exciting concept for a movie ever.
The future's toughest cop is Katie Coltrane.
I'm back.
And now she's getting a new partner.
It's a dinosaur.
You two solve this case together.
What? It's a dinosaur.
Well, you've obviously seen it.
I actually haven't watched it.
I haven't watched it. I've only seen the trailers.
I've read the interview where, on the what went wrong.
Oh, really?
And that is really fascinating because it's such a loss of money.
Oh my God, the most expensive direct-to-video film ever made. And I did have I had a quote from Whoopi Goldberg, and she said, "Don't ask me why I did it. I didn't want to."
He's got the charm.
Yeah, it's a huge legal battle. It's out of control.
And he's got the appetite.
Theodore Rex was a cop, though.
Well,
he was a cop, and he was partnered with Whoopi Goldberg, who was a racist cop, racist against dinosaurs.
It's a dinosaur.
I think that was the thing. I had to watch the movie. Yeah. Look, the 90s was crazy.
Line Cinema presents Whoopi Goldberg and introducing Teddy. It's a tale you'll never forget.
Maybe you think you're going to get somebody?
Theodore Rex.
That doesn't look very scary.
I got to let you know, me and T-Rex, we're part-time detectives because if life is to be in balance, you've got to do it part-time.
Exactly.
And he doesn't need to work.
He doesn't need to work.
No, but that's the beauty, and that's the big bold statement that is it's good to contribute, and that's what he's doing. He has the gift of being an amazing DJ, but also he goes to work like the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. He's actually come into the studio. Whoa, what's he doing? What's he doing? Crazy. Hi, T-Rex. Can you just test out the mic?
I'm a dinosaur DJ,
and I'm also a billionaire.
T-Rex, what are you doing here?
So I crash landed on Earth in the late 80s. I hit the club circuit and made a lot of money. I bought with it thousands of houses. Then, cryogenically frozen, I awoke in 2016 with this crazy portfolio. But I'm like, you know what? This isn't right. Nobody should own more than one home.
As a DJ, how do you keep your cool up there on the dance floor?
You just gotta check yourself before you T-Rex yourself.
I was born to send him to Earth to save humanity.
Jeremy, Neale. You're doing an install right after this.
I am.
Is that a Red Eye?
It is at Red Eye Records, yeah.
Have you done something there before? I imagine you might have.
I actually haven't. I haven't done an install run ever before.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, I should have because I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
But I haven't. So I'll do them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning for that?
Well, I mean, I wanted to tour the record, but it's too early. Nobody knows any of the songs yet. Yeah, it was the perfect format. I really do enjoy playing acoustically. I like to just, then I can spend more time telling stories. I mean, in the Melbourne
you get to do the banter, you're just you're tuning and you're going, this is a...
Yeah, exactly. I get to have the chats. And we did the Melbourne one at OG Records, and that was a real cool time. We had a halftime show. where I got people to come up and take shots.
Sorry, I'm just pissing into a cup while.
No, please, thank you, very kind. The show must go on. Yeah. So we had like a halftime show. People came up and took shots at a basketball hoop I had behind the stage. It just happened to be there. I don't know. You got to play your surrounds.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, but they were all trying off for a copy of the T-Rex comic book. Whoever sunk the basket got the comic, right? But guess what? All 3 of them missed. So you know what? I gave all 3 of them a copy of the T-Rex comic book because if you try your best,
exactly,
you get something.
Exactly. You are like the Australian spirit embodied.
Totally.
Have a go.
Have a go, mate.
Welcome to Mango Hill. Have a go. Hey, man. Go.
I hate asking this,
but
please. I thought that you might I thought it might be interesting. What's a movie that you used to love and now you don't?
I know a movie that I watched several times as a kid that I would not watch as an adult.
Is it Theodore Rex?
No. I wish I'd seen it as a kid. It could have really turned my life around.
Dinosaur!
Have you seen the movie All Dogs Go to Heaven?
I have not, but I'm familiar with it.
So it's a really dark cartoon that was marketed to kids.
It was a cartoon, right?
Yeah, and it's like essentially like the lead dog, Charlie, I think is his name. Wonderful, wonderful dog. But he actually ends up like going to hell. It's like the craziest movie. I know he gets out at the end, but it's such a dark journey, and I don't know why it was marketed to kids. So I would not watch it as an adult.
You've watched so much kid stuff, and it's all like some of it's really messed up.
Yeah,
particularly from the area that we grew up in, where people just didn't know what darkness was, or they didn't have an idea of what was appropriate.
We didn't have the internet.
No, no. I mean, have you seen? Did you ever see Dot and the Kangaroo?
I remember it, but I can't remember the content.
Oh dear God! There was one scene with the bunyip, and I'm going to send it to you on Twitter because it's actually so frightening. There was a Thomas the Tank Engine episode with. This sort of came up in the internet culture recently.
I did see this kicking around.
Yeah.
They hold up one of them they'd sealed over the
because
stone.
He refused to come out of the tunnel, and they couldn't push him out. And so then the Fat Controller says, "You're going to be stuck at that tunnel forever." And then his face goes sad, and they start bricking up the tunnel, and he just sits there.
What is that? What is that message? Is this like, do not protest? Is that what they're trying to say? Like, or you'll...
I don't know.
That is brutal.
And the weird thing is, that's Ringo doing the narration.
Yeah. How is he okay with this?
Yeah. What the fuck, Ringo?
If he still answered his fan mail, like I am led to believe from The Simpsons, I would be writing him a stern letter of WTF.
Fuck the game!
Jeremy, you're a pretty funny guy, right? Like you got some
this guy,
you got some
me.
wackiness.
Yeah.
You got a comic book. What kind of comedy are you loving right now? Like, do you get into stand-up at all, or
not really? I mean, I love it. I love it when I see it.
But you're not an avid.
No, I'll
consumer.
go to the Brisbane. I'll go to a show at the Brisbane Comedy Fest every time it comes around. I wish I saw it more because it always does.
Yeah, me
totally
too.
lift your mood.
It does. I always feel a little bit awkward in the crowd though because I don't laugh too easily at sort of scripted things.
Yeah.
I only laugh sort of when things go wrong usually.
It's that tension though, you know what I mean? Everybody's ready to laugh. You go to a show and everyone's ready to laugh and they're waiting for the opportunity to do it. So as soon as there's even something that could work, generally and hopefully it will catch, and then it'll just build on that. Like there's laughter classes.
Laugh yoga.
Yeah, laugh yoga. But like I'm watching Broad City at the moment.
Oh God, it's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, it's thanks to my girlfriend started watching it and then we were going to watch it together, and then...
It's one of the few shows that me and my girlfriend love equally that we can watch together.
But like she started watching it and then just powered through like 2 seasons, so I'm very far behind. I think I'm watching them now as she's doing the second lap.
Right, yeah.
But great show.
Yeah, and also because it was pretty popular and a pretty cool show to like, I was sort of wary of it, and then I'm watching it and I'm like, no, this is fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
So good. I went to see, Frank Woodley?
Yeah.
Woodley, yeah. And he was doing a stand-up show, and it was one of those theatres where it's like tiered seating.
Oh, yeah.
He was doing the stand-up on the floor, and I was sitting there with my friend, and there was this little kid in front of me, super hyperactive kid, just couldn't sit still, shouldn't have been at a comedy show, but, he was stuck there, poor kid. And he just kept turning around. I just found this so funny. I had to whisper to my friend, I'm like, I think this kid is untying my shoelaces.
Whoa.
And I don't know why, but that set me off in a way that, like, you know, when you're not supposed to laugh in school or church, and it, like, because I knew that I couldn't just laugh randomly at the comedy show when there wasn't the beats. I had tears in my eyes, just this kid was continually untying my shoelaces. And then, because everyone was going to think that I was on mushrooms or something if I'm just laughing randomly. And then I had to wait for Frank Woodley to make a joke so I could, like, release the valve of laughter.
Come on, Frank, come on, buddy.
And then I'm like,
disproportionate amount of laughter.
Yeah.
It's great.
everyone's got sort of a base. You're in my home base at the moment. What's your base? Do you float around? Do you have a central spot?
I guess if we're talking about like creative base, I will write in the share house I live in if everybody else is not home.
Right, okay.
Or I'll still write quietly if they're around. But otherwise, it's nice to go out and visit my mom, and she's got a more suburban house, so I can play and not worry the neighbours as much. So
and you played drums there growing up?
Yeah, I did. I mean, occasionally still complaints from the neighbours, but I haven't played in years, so that's fine now. But I do miss playing drums because there is no way to do it in an inner city share house.
Except if you have an agreement with the neighbours for Thursday afternoons and
okay, sweet. I got to get the contracts out.
That's the only way I've been able to do it. But there's no wonder why. Look, I listened to the podcast that you did a couple of years ago. All my friends are in bar bands with
David James Young.
Yeah,
what a legend.
Yeah, nice guy. And but that was that recorded at like. That was
in a bar.
It was loud.
Yeah.
Like I had to get that one on the old speakers.
Yeah, it needs subtitles. Where are the subtitles at?
Yeah. Well, that's what I do. Yeah. I'm always putting subtitles on. And every time a YouTube video doesn't have closed captions, I'm just like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
You guys were talking about the lack of drummers. And there's no fucking wonder there's a lack of drummers.
Because no one gets to practice.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably practice in a day-to-day kind of way, and then I'm always tapping, drummers are always tapping.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always, also, this is really probably bad for my teeth, but I'm always playing drums on my teeth. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like doing the I don't know, I must use it for the snare or something, I'm not sure. Anyway.
I'm always just using a couple of fingers on my phone in my pocket.
I wonder if that annoys other people. You never know. People are too polite to say.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah.
But I try and do it the reason I'm doing it on my phone rather than on the desk.
Yeah.
Because, that's
You're
going to annoy people.
Guy.
But some people don't give a shit, and you can always spot a drummer on the train.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anyone listen to music on the train with headphones on and start air drumming?
Yeah, there's going for it.
People do that. Or like at a gig.
Yeah.
I was at a gig last night. There was next to this guy who's just gone, just rocking it out. People can't see me, but I'm obviously
he's rocking it out.
Obviously
playing air drums. At home. He's rocking it out. Yeah.
But I mean, you feel that more. I mean, I'm not playing air drums at gigs when I watch bands, but I'm definitely playing them with my right hand and using the fingers.
Definitely.
And I guess because it's a little bit more visceral and it's a little bit more...
It's comfortable too. Like it kind of warms you up to get to the next level of moving, which is perhaps then moving your head and next minute you're in the pit. And then, everyone's circling around. Yeah. And then the wall of death happens. Everybody separates on either side of the room. You run on each other.
That feels like more of a 2008 thing to me.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like that was around a lot then. Or I was hanging out with people that listened to that
different
kind of
scene.
music.
Yeah. I think that scene is still alive and strong.
I'm sure it is, but I don't have to go to it anymore.
No, you don't have to risk injury anymore, which is great. I don't want injury from music.
Oh, God. I remember when I was younger going to big concerts and then you go up the front and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm up the front. Then a circle opens up and you're like, no, not now. Now I can't watch the band. Now I got to keep looking out for myself and standing around like a high school dance.
And I'm covered in other people's sweat.
Yeah.
And And it's really hard to breathe in there too, like the air gets so thick with humidity. Yeah, it's a brutal
And you're just
time.
like, I'm literally breathing you all in right now. Like, this is disgusting.
But unifying, I guess.
It is unifying. It is lovely. Like, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
But I never really know what to do at gigs. I mean, I was saying before that when I saw you, there was the guy in front of me moving his head left to right, and that was his way of getting into it.
He was actually just like signaling for you to get onto his shoulders. He was just like,
He's like, hey,
get
kid,
on.
hey,
Come on."
kid.
Yeah.
Kid, why aren't you responding?
Yeah. We're gonna...
But I never know how to get into things. Like, even when, I don't know, you go to a wedding and you go to dance.
You've had 8 to 10 drinks.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm like, how do people dance? Am I supposed to like, I got the Alec Baldwin problem of what do I do with my hands? I need 2 mugs.
I think you need a couple of nights at, anytime I've been to Frankie's Pizza here in Sydney.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of air guitarring, I feel.
Yeah. And that's what I
great.
do. That's what I
Yeah.
usually do, which is not better than air drumming. But I feel like it's okay because I am a drummer. And so if I'm playing air guitar, there's an element of, wacky.
I'm a wild card. I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah,
Is this how a guitar works? Yeah. It's a great cat. I love cats.
Have you always loved cats?
No, I used to be, very patriotic to the dogs.
Yeah, I was patriotic to the dogs as well. I thought dogs were the best country in the world, and we should celebrate Dog Day on January 26th.
Totally.
But
then you gotta, you eventually meet the right cat.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, okay. This cat's real cool. Because some cats are like cat dogs, they're quite affectionate too. They just like to hang out all the time.
I love those cats.
Yeah.
Those were the perfect cats to me.
Yeah, like watching TV, like, I want to watch TV too. I'm like, yeah, come on up here. We're watching TV.
Yeah. Well, our cat does this, little Fitzwilliam. His name is, it's my girlfriend's cat to be fair, but his name is Fitzwilliam Darcy, named after Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice.
Hunk. A real hunk.
My faults by this calculation are heavy indeed.
He's a bad boy.
Yeah.
He's also a little baby. Let's go on to patriotism because it's so loaded and I just wanted to relax.
Oh, yeah. I was just really looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah. Fuck. I mean, I would say that patriotism doesn't factor too much into musicians as a culture.
No, I think any time you find yourself anywhere where people define themselves by what it is they do, then you don't have that as much. Or not what it is they do, but like, I guess if you have a full sense of self, you define yourself in a multifaceted kind of way instead of this one broken down, like barely thing that you could take credit for,
Like, I always found it weird. Australia, it's mateship. We value mateship. And I'm like, mateship is friendship. Everywhere has friendship.
Yeah. Friendship is a beautiful thing, but then you got to be kind to everybody.
Yeah.
And not just that one person that you like whilst, kicking the head in of somebody else you don't like. Well,
often the people that seem super patriotic or usually have a profile photo of an Australian flag or something like that. And these are the people that, I mean, we are recording this on 9th November 2017. It'll probably be up in about a month. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's great.
Cool.
It's a great timeline.
Okay, cool. Manus Island is currently going fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And it's almost pathological the way that Peter Dutton is dealing with it.
There's just nothing more wrong. I just can't understand. I don't know why the worst people in the world end up in positions of such power. It's just so strange.
I know why.
Well, I mean, yeah, but why?
Like people who have more expensive cars.
Yeah.
People who cut people off in traffic have more expensive cars.
Yeah.
Because they don't worry too much about empathy to get ahead.
Yeah.
They're able to shut that part off.
Okay, right. You're right. We know why.
We know
why, but it's just it's hard to believe as a person.
As a positive person.
Yeah.
Who believes in karma, who believes in well, I mean, I don't believe in karma, but I like to believe in human induced karma.
Yeah.
Of that I like justice is the word that I'm looking for.
I think that's what you're looking for. Yeah, look, I hope that the world gets progressively better as time goes on.
Yeah, it feels like at the moment it's getting much worse.
Yeah. I have no solutions, which is why
that's the thing about talking about it, because you're just like, well, what do? We don't have enough to impeach Trump yet. We can't take them from Manus. Not even Russell Crowe can.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, Russell Crowe says something and everyone's going, no one cares about your views.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Russell Crowe. Offering to house several...
Do people really say that to Rusty?
Yeah, people say that to anyone. People like you go to anything and instantly, they should have waited in the queue like everyone else. They shouldn't have. It's just fucking insane.
Yeah, it's like the thing is, and I say this to anybody I ever have an argument with who is anti-immigration in any way, and I'm like, do you honestly think that before you were born you chose to be here? Like, you have people that they would swear to you that they made a choice to be born here. I know,
and it's
right? So strange, and that's the worst and biggest problem you'll find in any people in your life is they take credit for things they can't take credit for. They had no say in where they were, and suddenly it's like they made the choice, and other people should have made different choices.
Exactly,
which is fucked.
And it's kind of it's almost like they think that if they were born in another country, they could have made it here.
Yeah,
some correct way.
Yeah,
they just think that but it's kind of like. Often the people who are inheriting large amounts of wealth will be the ones that are most anti-welfare or something like that, going, well, if he worked hard, like I might have inherited wealth, but I also worked hard. And I'm like, I'm sure you did. Yeah. Most people work fucking hard.
Yeah, most people work hard and for a long time too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a lot of hours in a week.
Yeah, and I can almost understand that more than... well, then they shouldn't have been born there, or they should have gone about it this right way that I made up.
Yeah, cool. This great bureaucracy we've got. Jump through hoops. It's messed. There is no solution for us here today, but it's that kind of thing where obviously you make the impacts where you can make the impacts, I guess.
One of the other things that I get quite wary of, we're in Stanmore right now, which is right next to Newtown in Sydney, and that's hub of left-wing bubble, progressive bubble. And you obviously need to be very conscious of that, because when people aren't, then you end up with things like nasty surprises like Trump and things like that.
The bubble is tough, man.
It's really tough, especially when you read statistics about how many Australians think that we're not tough enough on asylum seekers.
Yeah.
It's a majority.
Yeah, it's just very concerning. It's so weird being in the inner city bubble, because you think you know what people are thinking because you are approaching it in a humanitarian way. And that seems like the logical... I mean, you get the word... We're all humans. You get humanitarian from the word human. It seems like it's an essential given. It seems like
that
everybody...
word again, humanitarian.
Humanitarian. It seems to be a given that you would approach everybody with empathy. And if you have more than enough, then of course you would give it and share it. It just seems, it's completely logical. It's not just emotional, it's also logical. And then to think that people can ignore the emotional, empathetical stance and the logical stance, which is like, let's help each other. What are they basing anything else on?
Well, what do they think is the end result? Because right now they've closed the centre essentially. They've cut off the services. I don't know what the situation's going to be when this airs, but as at this point, they've cut off the services and just hope. And their next accommodation is not ready. The UN visitors have
New Zealand offered to take,
and they refused to take that,
which is our government is messed up, and I don't know enough to comment outside of the fact that I'm just outraged, but I don't have a solution. I'm not well enough read. Other than having sent my local MPs, the emails. I'm not well enough.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that it's an important thing to do. Contact your member of parliament.
Yes,
something I've not done, but definitely should do and will do. Because
you can prank their phones. We're not prank them, but you can give them hell because they're ruining the world.
Do the jerky, boys.
Yeah,
fart into the phone.
Yeah, leave the flaming poop on the doorstep. If you get arrested, I'm sorry.
With the ascent of Trump, where were you on that day? This is because in my head it was like September 11th to be like, where were you?
Everybody knows where they were. I was at work, and so work is it's a bit of a void. Like I'm cut off from communications.
Of course, yeah.
But I'd catch glimpses on the TVs as we'd walk around, and it just seemed outrageous that just the figures you'd see on the screen.
I felt like I was in a nightmare.
It was nuts.
And it still feels like a nightmare.
In a less extreme event, I was at work the same day last federal election.
Right.
And I couldn't believe LNP won either. I know that, but that got to me so much too. I was like so emotionally invested leading into that as well.
Yeah.
And so disappointed and couldn't believe it. I think because at that stage we were talking about the main issues were like, it was essentially the start of the end of Social Security. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like, well, if we let them make the co-contribution thing for Medicare, if we slowly let it get eroded, we're heading in that direction. And you're desensitizing people to being okay with that by slowly cutting it away.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think that people were right to be up in arms about the $7 copayment because it was
just the beginning of things.
It was the beginning of things. I mean, and the most annoying thing is that you look at that sort of. I understand that that's put forward as a budgetary measure, and I understand that it's not easy being a politician. It's not easy to balance a budget, and you are going to disappoint everyone with every decision that you make. But you head down that path, and it doesn't lead anywhere good. And it's almost like, what is your goal? Do you want an American-style system? Do you want that level of inequity? Is that because do you feel that that's more libertarian? Or, it boggles the mind that someone would think that was the solution when all data suggests it's not.
Like we've seen glimpses of the future. There's only one way that system goes. It's very strange.
You're quite good at the Twitter. You're good at it.
Well, I never used the Twitter though, to be honest.
Really? Okay. Well, you're good. Well, you're good at the thing.
I like Facebook and Insta. Well, Facebook is my preferred medium.
Yeah, but it's hard to reach people with Facebook as a musician.
Yes, it's expensive too these days.
It's very expensive, and the sheer amount of people who run pages all know this. But if you run a Facebook page, you are basically unable to reach people for the most part, almost entirely, unless you pay for it now.
Yeah, totally. Which is the thing about that is that everybody's now buying in to have to pay. So the minimum buy-in is getting higher. So what you would pay to reach people previously now reaches less people. So you have to pay more.
But the funny thing is that I never used Instagram or Twitter until I started using it for the band last year.
Yep.
And I find it's very it freaks me out a bit because I'm showing the best of our stuff.
Yeah.
I'm showing our best version of reality of the band.
Yeah.
When in reality, everything that you create is a fucking mess most of the time. I would say that's actually quite a well-functioning band, but regardless, there's fights, there's arguments, there's disagreements, there's slow progress. That's what happens. People don't see any of that.
Yes.
And as a band, you follow other bands and you see what they're doing. You're like, oh, why are they're doing this?
Yeah.
Why aren't we doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird prism of reality
And look, anytime you look outside of what you're doing, though, is like potential shame spiral,
Completely.
Anytime you look into what else is going on with other people, you really gotta hyper focus on your own race on that kind of thing as well. And it's hard not to look what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. If you're looking anywhere else or if you're thinking about long impacts of an event like that, you will. But you just gotta, if you then focus on what you're doing next. I think that's always the way through. It didn't work.
It's also, it's the same as songwriting.
Yeah, totally.
You can't be focused on, obviously you want to be trying to reach as many people as possible, but I think at least in the creative process, you can't be thinking about expectations. So you said before you write for yourself.
Yeah, then you've already pleased number one.
Yeah.
Right? You please somebody, so you're happy.
Exactly.
And that's the easiest way to do anything, is just please yourself. External validation does feel wonderful.
Oh, so wonderful.
But internal
the fact that you came on today, wonderful for me.
No, I'm glad. But internal validation is it's there for you always,
And that's something that we can all attempt to do for your own mental health.
Yes.
Get used to your own internal validation.
Yeah, and you make the spheres that hold you up as well. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't want to get too self-helpy or whatever, but you've got all the things that, all the core parts of your life that make a good life, you know what I mean? You've got like, oh, well, I take pride in my exercise. I take pride in like, I'm pretty good at this video game. I take pride in my job. I take pride in like my community and my morning cafe walk. And I go and say hey to the priestess there. You know, I take all these facets that make up your life. And when one of those things isn't working, at least the other ones are.
Yeah.
And you've got those. And that's the thing. And that's a problem with music is that it does.
Well, it takes so much time and effort that it's very hard to accept less than desirable outcomes.
And it promotes an all-in kind of attitude as well. And that means you end up sacrificing all those other beautiful spheres that you have that should be holding you up.
Completely.
And then music, then once again, if you want to make that successful for you, I feel like you need to break music down into a bunch of little spheres as well. So then, like, say with your Big Sound application, you're like, I didn't get into Big Sound, but I'm stoked and I got to remind myself and be grateful and like show gratitude for this song that you might have just done a week ago. You know what I mean? You listen back and go, no, wait a second. I'm happy with that song.
Yeah.
Music is not failing for me right now.
Yeah.
Music is on a whole great. It's just that one little aspect didn't. And I think it's very common.
Yeah.
I'll do it for music stuff. I'll be like, the perfectionist in me wants everything to be going 100% well and 100% on target at all times. And so catastrophizing. I can never say the word very well.
Catastrophizing?
Catastrophizing?
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's somewhat of it. But it's like blowing things out of proportion. That happens because it does, whenever you do get a musical failing, it hits you at the core because it's part of you. You know, you're expressing yourself and someone's told you in a roundabout way, you're not good enough. But that's only for their take on what's good enough.
Yeah.
But for the take of you being good enough for you, you already decided that. And you've already made a decision on that. And that's 100% concrete. So no one else can actually shake that.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. And the other way to put it is it's not even just having a material that you are proud of. It's also you need to enjoy the process of making that material.
Yes, definitely.
That focus on time that we were talking about earlier. You know, you have to, because this is your time. That's your time. There's nothing more than the writing of the song. That's what you do.
Yes. The day-to-day has to be good.
Jeremy Neale from the land of Brisbane.
Shaun from the land of this garage.
Hey. Thank you so much for coming on. I mentioned before how nice of you it was to come down. What sentence is that? I don't know what that is.
I think what you're missing here is acknowledging how nice it is of you to have me here.
Well, yeah, I am pretty great.
And this water has lemons in it, man. That doesn't happen everywhere. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, well, you know, you gotta keep the troops happy. I don't know what that means. Is there a particular song that you would like to finish up on today?
We talk about it all day, so I guess Ian Mossy Moss's Tucker's Daughter.
All right, let's listen to Tucker's Daughter by Ian Moss. Thanks for coming on, Jeremy.
Thank you.
End bracket.